Hello, it's Editing Silvoy again. Any rumbling or jingling you hear in the background, my cat is in here again because she has an obsession with being in my room, but now she wants out now that I just sat down to record. And there's a snowstorm outside, so sorry about any background noise. Hello, my little Pookie Bears. I asked people for their Overwatch hot takes on TikTok, and now that they're in, I think it's time to react to them. These players' ranks are unknown, and I regret not asking them to tell because I think it would have been an interesting addition. Any response is completely my opinion. Feel free to comment your own because I love to read them. I'm also not very smart, so if my opinions are trash, just feel free to let me know. Our first comment is by Ash, and they say, being actually good at Mercy does take skill. Let me start off by saying that I'm biased. Mercy is my most played character, but I do agree. I think that she's easy to pick up, hard to master, because she has a lot of different techniques. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of quick decision making goes into playing her and staying alive, helping a teammate not get staggered, or dashing around when your team is scattered. Sure, her actual ability doesn't take skill, but rather awareness of your power boost to heal ratio, though that's not too hard. If you've got a slow reaction time, Mercy may not be the hero for you. Can you get away from a tire? Can you stay in the air to make it harder for Pharah or Echo to hit you? Can you get your staggered teammate while in the line sight of a Widow? When I play Mercy, I'm constantly moving around and aware of where everyone is, my escape routes, the most beneficial position to be, and how fast I can get there using my teammate as a bridge of sorts. I just couldn't imagine someone who's never played Mercy hopping on her and having these movements down without practice. In our next comment, Luke says, Hanzo has an incredibly low skill floor and should be changed to require more skill to play effectively. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. A lot of Hanzo gameplay feels like luck, but I also feel as if there's some skill in predicting where people will be going in order to land headshots. I don't like Hanzo because he feels like no fun to play against, but I have no idea whether I agree or disagree with this person because I get tilted every time he lands a headshot from Narnia. Wolfie says, I think Zen is a good choice if you are good at him and can properly heal. I can agree with this one. As long as you're paying attention and not ignoring your teammates, Zen is a fine pick. Your team just has to acknowledge that his healing probably won't be clutching the game anytime soon. I'd prefer that the other support is a main healer, or that your team comp isn't built around needing a lot of heals, but a good Zen can turn the tables in a team fight by making a valuable pick. Of course, Discord Orb is great, with how easily it shreds tanks, making him overall a pretty good pick for certain maps and comps. And if your DPS aren't making much of an impact, maybe Zen can, because we all know he's just a DPS with balls. Nowzer50 says, Ball and Bastion should drop Hammond and Ganymede to heal anyone who eats it for 50 HP, like old white Lifeweaver passive. Hard agree, I think he should be hired at Blizzard. In all seriousness, ignoring the obvious balance issues, I think Ganymede flying around to drop little healing orbs or something would be adorable, because who doesn't love the little guy? Also, old Lifeweaver passive? What? What? Why did I not know this was a thing? I didn't start reading patch notes until Season 7, but let's pretend it's Blizzard's fault that I didn't know, and not my own ignorance. Mlem says, I was gonna say how I think Lifeweaver is one of the most fun support heroes, but then I noticed your username, and my username being Certified Lifeweaver Enjoyer. I do find Lifeweaver fun. He's super slippery and he can pull off some cool moves with his abilities, such as blocking Bastion's ultimate, pulling people into the air to get more ult value, pulling teammates away from danger, giving people the high ground. He's a pretty cool guy. However, I will acknowledge that sometimes it's hard not to heal bot. If your team is taking heavy damage, you'll want to prioritize keeping them up over doing damage unless your pick will be so valuable that A, you can sacrifice a teammate, or B, you're saving a teammate. I think Lifeweaver is fun, past the usual support experience. And from Daito8, when low skill ceiling and floor DPS are still meta at the top level, the game is in a bad state. I've heard this said a lot actually, and I'm not sure what my thoughts are. It makes sense in a way that I can't really put into words because I've never been in a lobby higher than Plat 1. An example that comes to mind is Ana. Ana's still good in any rank, but bronze players may not switch to Kiriko to counter her when she becomes a problem, whereas higher ranked players will. Same with Roadhog, swapping to Ana if he becomes a problem. I hope that makes sense. I know that lower elos struggle with specifically Reinhardt, whereas he's considered one of the worst tanks in the game at higher levels, just because everything outdoes him. I've seen many people saying that because he's so powerful in lower elos, Rein will never be buffed, but that's irrelevant to the main point, and please take that with a handful of salt. Next up is Gimmicky B, who says, Hitscan shouldn't have fall off if projectile doesn't. I think they both should have fall off, personally. I'm tired of being picked off by Hanzo or Torbjorn from across the map. I feel as if projectiles don't have enough weight to them and travel so much farther than they should. Hitscan with no fall off sounds like a nightmare, as a Mercy player who loves to be in the air all the time. Maybe I have a skill issue, but I have such a great time when I move 2 centimeters to the left and end up walking into a stray Hanzo aerial that would have missed me had I moved literally any direction. Yeah, I don't like Hanzo. Gerald Riffner says, Widowmain should go back to Call of Duty. I've never heard of this being a thing, and I think this person may be thinking of Soldier mains because if y'all want to see some COD players. Lucio and Ball are the worst characters in the game to play against or with. I disagree. Both have to know how to play in order to get any value. Usually, Lucio and Ball mains are some of the goofiest people ever. When people say that Lucio players are the only people having fun, they're right. You can do a lot with Lucio, and he's not easy. You have incredible mobility, you can speed teammates in for an aggressive play or away from danger, you can heal multiple teammates at once, and so on. Ball is alright. Good wrecking ball players can capitalize on the enemy team being out of position, peel for you, even if it isn't his job, and don't require a lot of babysitting because of his mobility, and the supports can instead focus on the rest of the team. Jean says, Lucio is worse than Sombra and may take skill. Legacy disagrees. I also disagree. Lucio is squishy and can't just disappear without consequence if the enemy team decides to focus him, whereas Sombra, to an extent, can. Lucio doesn't do crazy damage, even if you have good aim, because he's a projectile hero. I think Mei is an easier hero, if anything. You guys know my thoughts on projectiles, and how it's about prediction and luck, and that's applicable to Mei as well. Her primary fire, of course, is easy to use, because it's essentially a beam. Her cooldowns, on the other hand, a good Mei can do some crazy things with wall, and if said player doesn't watch their ice block, they're pretty easy to take down. I'm not sure on this, but I know that even I can get some shit done with Mei, and I have the least amount of time on DPS than any other role. Theater Dreamer says, Overwatch TikTok fans have genuinely the worst opinions in the game. You don't get to talk if you're a theater kid. Anyways, as I said, this is subjective. Ridiculous opinions tend to go viral because people interact with them and feed the algorithm. Plus, there's so much content consumed in an average scrolling session that you're seeing way more than when you sit down and watch a 15-minute YouTube video. There are bad takes everywhere. I've seen big streamers and YouTubers have shitty takes. I've seen small TikTokers with good takes. I don't think platform has anything to do with it as much as how that content is displayed uniquely in each app. And our last comment from Ollie says, I think we should kill Malga in real life. I disagree. Fuck that guy. Any, rumbling or shit you hear is, I can't cuss in the first 30 seconds. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. Oh my god, I can't, why? The fuck? I don't like Hanzo because he feels like no fun to play against, but I have no idea whether I agree or disagree with this person, because I get tilted every time he lands a headshot from Narnia. Daito8 says, when low skill ceiling and floor DPS are still meta at the top level of the game is... can't read. Hitscan with no fall off sounds like a nightmare, as a Mercy player who loves to be in the air all the time. Maybe I have a skill issue, but I have such a great time when I move 2 centimeters to the left. Fuck it, motherfucker. I'm not sure on this, but I know that even I can get some shit done with Mei, and I have the least amount of DPS on